Hi everyone, I'm Nicole from Nicole Jones 911, and this is my first contribution as a creative team member for Get It Scrap. And my assignment this month is reasons to journal in your own handwriting. And so we'll get to that. But first of all, I just want to say how excited I am to be a creative team designer, and I can't wait to participate in all the fun stuff. One of the things that that I have to talk about is the tools and supplies do I use to help me to add my own writing on my scrapbook or in my scrapbook. And then during the video, while I'm doing the process, I'll talk about why I find it's important and the reasons why I like to hand journal on my scrapbook layouts. So first, let's just go into some of the tools that is available out there for us to use on our scrapbooks. I think the biggest tip that I can give, and I think if you ask most people, that is probably one of the things that they struggle the most with, is journaling. One thing that I do that seems to help a lot is I make page kits, and I choose my photos and papers and embellishments and all that, and then before I start to scrapbook, I take these recipe cards, whether they be 4x6 or 3x4, and I journal about the photo. And I tend to do that, I'll do like 8 page kits, and I'll tend to do that for 8 pages. And then when I'm actually doing the layout, journaling is on the forefront of my mind, like I'm thinking about it, because as I take out my page kit, my journaling is already done. So that's a big tip for me that's helped a lot, is to do your journaling ahead of time. And as soon as you get your page kit together, do your journaling, and then it'll do a couple of things. It'll make sure that you think about leaving space on your page to do some journaling. And if you're at a crop or anything like that, I find when there's other distractions, I can't think. But if my journaling is already done, then I just copy and I can do that. Now, here are some tools that help me journaling on my page. Now, I love using these Project Life cards. These are the grid ones. Now, they come in 4x6 and 3x4, and there's actually other ones that are lined. So just Project Life cards. These are the plain ones, but you can use any Project Life cards, whether, there's just a little journaling space or something like that. Then companies make it easy too for us to journal on our page, because a lot of the products that they put out there, they make it so that you can journal directly on your layout. So, you can take a pattern paper that is sort of lined, and you can do, if you put your photo here, an embellishment, and then there's room there that you can journal. And some of the pattern papers are like grid, or almost like, this is, what do you call that? It's like a journal, so you have space to write out, So lots of pattern papers put out there, or even one that is a ombre effect. There's still spaces here that your journaling can really pop on the page. And then there's just regular grids, and then there's some pattern papers that are lined in whatever way, and that can help with the journaling. And I just want to show you this one here. This one came from this package. So this is an entire collection of journal collection pack. So it comes in a variety of color. So if you get a darker one, you could journal with white, let's say, so that it would pop on the page. So there's tons of pattern papers that make it easy for us to be able to journal directly on the page. Now, some of my favorite tools to journal are these Staedtler Triplus Fine Liner, and I just love them. They come in a different, an array of colors, so it makes it easy so that you don't always have to write in black. And I also like these Muji pens, and that comes in a few sizes too. This one is a 0.38. So make sure that whatever pen you have feels comfortable in your hand, and practice on some scrap paper too. I find practice also helps. If you don't like your handwriting, just practice your letters, and That'll make it easier for you to journal. And another thing I like to do, and I haven't done in a while, so I'm going to do now with this page, is you take some word stickers and you replace some of the words that you write and you put stickers for that word. Or you can stamp as part of your journaling, or a roller stamp. Those are all words, so I could use one of these. Or you could use some stickers and just write out a certain word. So in your journaling, these words would really pop off the page. So that's another tip. Now, if you want to get super fancy and you want to do some brush script, there's all kinds of tools out there too that you can use. And I wouldn't do my whole journaling in brush script, but you could do one word so that it would really stand out. So now I'm going to put a page kit together, do my journaling, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to put a page together and we're going to talk more about the reasons to journal in your own handwriting. Okay, so now we're going to start going through some of the embellishments that I might want to use, on this page, and a whole bunch from Teresa Collins and Maggie Holmes. And I have a complete list that I used on the Get It Scrap blog. This was posted about a week and a half ago. I just didn't have time to get the video up because I am in the middle of packing, and but I wanted to get it done. So this is a Bow Bunny color dot pattern paper, and it's sort of a journaling background, which is perfect, and it's kind of distress, which was really working. And this is a picture of, it describes sort of what my job is. And I've done a few things about my job, and I'm a 911 dispatcher, and but I wanted to do this. There was this picture that was going around on Facebook, and it's we have that many screens to look at, and you have a girl sitting in front of the monitors, and she's holding onto her head, and her head is bowed. And I'll read to you what it says on that little what was attached to that photo. And then in my journaling, I also kind of talk about what it feels like for me to be, a dispatcher. And so that photo, it says 911 call takers. The stress is real. They are the first people you make contact with on your worst day. A tragic crash, sudden collapse of a loved one, baby choking. They hear your cries, your screams, and at times they hear someone end their life. Your voices don't go away. They linger for months and years. Our 911 call takers and dispatchers are often forgotten, working 24/7, 365, hidden from the public view. Always there for you. Whatever your definition of a hero, make them part of it. Please like and share to show them the respect they deserve. Thank you, 911. And so my journaling is going to be sort of my experience. I've been a 911 dispatcher for 10 years. And so I'm going to talk about my journaling here in a bit. But first, we'll talk about what I'm doing. So I added some clear gesso to the background. And now I'm adding some colorings in. It's in a brown ink. And like I said, all the products that I use to make this page will be listed on their blog. And then I use some My Mind's Eye pattern paper and just kind of matted the photo a couple times. Now the focus on this layout is totally going to be on journaling, because that's what our assignment was to focus on the journaling. So the first step I did was, took a pattern paper that was going to help make my life easier into doing a lot of journaling on the page, directly on the page. So I took a pattern paper that already had lines to the background. So that helped. Then, a lot of us say, oh yeah, I know hand journaling is important, but I don't like my handwriting and all that stuff. So what I do, and I haven't done this in a while, but I used to do this all the time when I did my own hand journaling. now I just hand journal. I just got over it. But when I had those issues, I guess, a little bit more before, a few years ago, I would bring in some stuff to make it so that it would break up my hand journaling. So that's one way that you can remedy that. So I bring in some stickers, I bring in some stamp sets, and some embellishments to kind of make your handwriting a little bit, maybe a little bit more appealing if you don't like your handwriting. And another thing is, the more that you do it, the more that you get over that, I guess, that fear of, oh my goodness, I don't like that my handwriting. What you need to remember is, 15 years from now, or 20 years, or 30 years from now, when somebody else is looking at this, they're not going to say, oh my goodness, look at the handwriting. They're going to be reading the stories. They're going to be totally engrossed in the stories that you're telling. And I just think of, my grandson, when he reads some of the stories about when he's little, he's not going to say, oh my goodness, couldn't you have typed this? I'm sure that it's like finding a recipe of a great grandmother in her handwriting. How precious is that? You don't think of how disgusting the handwriting looks. You think about how blessed you are that you found this. And another tip that I can give you is pre-write your hand journaling on. I use recipe cards. That's what helps me with my journaling, because I am not writing and thinking about what I'm going to be saying, because that's when I make mistakes. So if I do you can see on my recipe card, I have things scratched out, and because if you're trying to formulate your sentences as you're writing it down on your pattern paper, you're going to make mistakes. But you know what? On that same token, even if you make mistakes, just take some white out and white it out, or keep writing the letter, the right letter over the wrong letter over and over again until you can see what the right letter is supposed to be, and just move on. It's the nice thing about this. It's handmade, so it's not supposed to be perfect. I know we want our pages to look nice and everything, but nice and perfect are two different things. We need to let go of being perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to read you what I put as journaling. And I have to say, the story is not complete, because this is how I'm going to do a companion page to this, because this is how it's affected me personally. But I have to say that my job has also affected my family. And that's what I want to, I guess, tackle or discuss or put into words in the companion page, because it has taken a toll on my family too. And like I said, I'll talk about that in my companion page. But here it goes. Here is what I wrote down. And I started the same way that the little blurb in the photo. So I put, the stress is real. I put EMD, and EMD stands for Emergency Medical Dispatcher. And then I put, the stress is real. And then I took some alphas from Doodlebug, the teensy types, in the brown, and I put the stress. So what I like is, in the journaling, certain words really pop out. But anyway, I'll come back to that. I'll just read the journaling for now. I keep thinking of different things I want to talk about. The stress is real. I started as a dispatcher in 1997, unsure of what I was getting myself into. All I knew was that I was ready to do something that helped people, and I quickly noticed that this job takes a heavy toll on people. It is a job that has a high rate of turnover due to the overwhelming stress of the job. It can be have heart-wrenching moments, like when you hear the person on the other end say, "Please don't leave me," to their loved ones, or a child's death. The screams and cries linger in your mind for months and years. However, It is a very rewarding job with a lot of exhilaration moments, like when you find someone who is having an emergency but don't know where they are, and or when you deliver a baby, and then I put etc. I am a dispatcher and I wouldn't change that for anything. So that is, again, my side. Then after, I'm going to put another little piece of die cut, and I'm going to put a little bit here, and I just put the long hours and shift word add a substantial amount of stress on your body and family life. So like I said, on the other page, the companion page, I'm going to talk about the effects that it had on my family. This one I talked more about the effects on me and my fellow dispatchers and EMD, emergency medical EMS people in general, whether it's a paramedic or a fireman or a police officer. It's a job that takes a lot of toll on your body, and I just wanted to talk about that. Now, this is journaling about something that I do on a daily basis. Like I said, I've been a dispatcher for 10 years. But another aspect that journaling can be super important is I have done a page for each one of my children. I have to do one for Mason. I haven't done one like one of these for Mason yet. But I've done a journaling page for each one of my children that I want to talk to them personally, to sort of, once I'm gone, that they start looking through the scrapbook pages, because that's when they're going to be looking in the scrapbook pages even more, right? And that they each find a letter that I've written to them personally. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my husband to write something too, and then he's just going to write it on a piece of paper probably, and then stick it in there too. So they'll have a letter from each one of us directly for them, just about life, just about, it's stuff that we probably not tell them every day, but that we've, talked about, but just to have it written down and to tell them what they've meant to us, to have them as our kids, that from the product of our marriage, this is what we've made. And they're the things that we're the most proud of in our life, And so I think it's important to leave that for your kids, little gems that they're going to find in your scrapbooks. And for me, I know that my scrapbook videos too. For me, it's another way to leave stuff for my kids. They don't watch my scrapbook videos now, but I know that later on, I'm sure that they'll watch my scrapbook videos, and it's like I'm talking to them too, because it's about all the things that we've done over the years and my take on it. Maybe their take on it is not the same. So by doing these scrapbook pages and the journaling, they get your take on it, which might be totally different from theirs. Because let's be real. Everything that we do doesn't go smoothly. A day at the zoo, a day at the park, it's not, if we're honest with ourselves, the whole day is not perfect. There's always drama, right? Especially when your kids are young. There's drama. But you know what? When we put in the scrapbook layouts, that's what you want to remember. You want to remember the good times, but it's okay to scrap about the not so good times, the harder moments or time or drama that happen on that day. But normally I try to keep it real, but I don't focus on those moments more than I need to. I might just say, like, oh my goodness, da da da, but the rest of the day was amazing, and just focus on the better part of the day. And that's what we want to remember. So let's talk a little bit. There's only a couple minutes left here, so let's just talk a little bit of what I'm doing here. So I just found a few little embellishments, and I didn't put too many embellishments on this because I wanted the focus to be on the journaling. But I found a little doily, and I cut it in half, and there's the piece of die cut with the little heart, and that's where I put the long hours and shift work is hard on the body and also on the family. And then I just took a little bit of hearts, the enamel hearts, and those are from Illustrated Faith. I just absolutely love those. I wish I had like 50 packages of these because I never want to run out. I'm sure somebody else will come out with something just as amazing, but I really love them. And when I looked at my journaling, I wanted to put hearts within my journaling, and I put a heart near I'm going to change it here. There's only a couple here, but I'm going to go back to it. And when I looked at it again, I saw, because I put heart-wrenching and I stamped it, and I thought, ooh, I would like to have a heart next to the word heart. How cool is that? So I'm going to move that. And in order to move that, I move some other ones so that it makes a better triangle. So there I see that's where I put the heart, and then I put the other heart next to EMD. So then the hearts are in more of a triangle within my journaling. And the words that I put stickers or stamping in my journaling were the words that I really want to stand out. So I got stress and help, cries, exhilaration, dispatcher, and anything. And that's it. That's going to complete my first assignment for Get It Scrap. So check them out at getitscrap.com and you can check out the other creative team members' creations. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.